Hey, look, it's truck paint. I don't know. Alright, I mean, yeah, it's moving. Yeah, I don't know, sorry, I'm just... brain, yeah, so I've got some of the paint moving along. Yesterday I primed everything. I started doing airbrushing. After about 3 hours of attempts with the airbrush, I actually just stopped airbrushing. I am not finding that the airbrush, and I mean, it's certainly something where if I did some more science experiments, I could find better ways to go about it, but this cardboard material with primer over top, airbrushed paint just doesn't really want to stick and make an opaque layer over it. And it was just, even doing many layers, it was still just, it just did not want to grab. So, yeah, instead of continuing to pound my head against that, I mostly just kind of gave up. I mean, I had kind of an okay coating of the first color on... No, honestly, no. It was all bad. It was actually really just all bad. Yeah, and so I just kind of sat down and I just started doing it with brushes. I've got some wide synthetic brushes, and I'm just putting it all on my hand, and it's going way better. If I'd been able to make the airbrush cooperate a little better, it would have been a lot faster, I think, but whatever, this is moving, so... Anyway, so yeah, here we go. Hey look, it's yellow. I don't know, yellow was just a color that seems compatible with my army, but was not featured heavily in the army. And in fact, when I was painting the models, yellow was a really bad accent color. It doesn't look good against the green. But as its own big thing here, I think should look a little better. Or not, maybe it'll look terrible, who knows. But anyway, so yeah, it's that color of yellow, and then with this kind of teal blue and orangey brown roof. Really kind of struggled with the roof. I want a color. There's I've known since I started the project what color I wanted the roof to be. I wanted it to be P3 Bloodstone. Unfortunately, I don't have any P3 Bloodstone, and I don't think I have for 8 years. And so I've been trying to recreate it with different mixes, and I've been finding it a very difficult color to mix up with the paint that I have. Anyway, I got something that was like tolerable, and there's some more shading to be done, obviously. Color will change from that, but anyway. Yeah, and anyway, so this is just kind of how I've been working. The whole truck is all ripped apart. The wheels are in a bucket. This is the center section with the, the rear section with the tag bays. So they had been pre-painted at an earlier stage because I thought that it was going to be easier to do certain parts as separate pieces before assembly. So that's been painted for months and months and months. But then to not mess that up, I basically created a cocoon of aluminum foil around it. And so now I can just work on the flaps without touching any of the stuff that I've already done on the interior. I did similar things over here. Again, this is just interior stuff, and it has foil around it to keep it safe while I work on the rest of the stuff. Yeah, and so I've just been kind of going along. I'm on day 2, and so, there's still probably a week left of work on this. So, need to do a lot more interesting shading. I need to do the models were all given a dark red kind of back left light shading point. And this is going to be done the same way. So there's going to be the light coming from this angle and then the dark coming from the opposite angle at the bottom right. So, yeah. And yeah, and this all currently right now is in pieces. So the roof comes off, the walls come off, and then this comes off. It's the bunk area, and this comes off. It's the eating area, and then this is one piece, and then that's another piece. and then here's the that area. So it's all kind of in pieces, and that gives me a lot easier access to paint in and around and up and over things. So anyway, yeah, that's the paint. I mean, yeah, there's really no. I hesitated to even stop and record this because I feel like I have so little to say about it, but I just needed a break, so sure, why not? This is a break. Anyway, back to painting. I currently don't like how it looks, but it's very far from finished, and I'm pretty sure that it will look better when it's done. Not necessarily good, but, you know, better. So, yeah. It is a very large tray. This is the display tray cut out for the truck. Currently midway through painting. But yeah, the tray is so big. It's 22 inches across from left to right. It's 14 inches deep. The 22 inches, so the truck, the main part of the truck here is only like, I don't know, like 17 or something like that, but 16 or 17 from like the nose to the back of this part here. But the ramp is going to be extended at the back, and there needs to be enough to cover that. So yeah, with 22 inches, the ramp will go to like here. And then, yeah, and then the 14, I mean, originally the 14 was just so that I could put some scenic stuff with like some water in the front, some foliage in the back. But then I remember that like they're covered, they're in the foil cocoon right now, but the tag buckets are actually going to pull down, and they're going to be about here. So there's actually like 14 is almost just like the needed space just to deploy all of this. So yeah, it is absolutely huge. Gonna be a big pain in the ass to try to carry around. So I might not try to carry around. I might just carry the truck around. But yeah, that's how big the tray is gonna be. Yeah, and hey, midway partial painting update, I guess. I'm trying to get to the point where the main colors on the truck have all their base coat, shade, and highlights in. I want to say like 75% of the way through that. The front has a lot more of that done than the back. The back piece needs a lot more of the highlighting and stuff done, so that'll be working on that tonight. But yeah, then the next step after that is right now the colors are still like really starkly separated from each other. And I'm going to be making them come a little closer together through two things. One, by applying, I'm going to airbrush a red shade in from the back and the right, back and the right, yeah. Which by having that same red shade on everything will unify them a little bit. And also I'm going to grime the stuff a little bit with just some lots of mud and dirt and stuff. That the grime layer might be one of the last things I do after it's fully assembled, I think. And again, that will help bring the colors together and make them feel like they're more of a cohesive whole rather than the starkly different colors that I have here. But anyway, so yeah, that's my... Yeah, mostly this was a tray update, but hey, painting update while we're here. This is the truck as it stands right now. Some painting left to do, but there's the front, crew compartment up here, need to paint the interior, there's the front, these will be light up headlights, there's the capybara enclosure up here, the entry is through this little side area here by the ladder. Here's the conveyor belt. It actually conveys, but it's hard to do right now. There's an area up top where the crew will go. These currently they're wrapped up in a foil cocoon to protect some things while I'm painting. But these lift, and then the big giant robots go inside the compartment and then lift down and lift up. Like I said, that the piece that does that is currently hidden. And then currently separate from this is this. So this is the part that sits on top. The roof is here. These, yeah, whatever, that's the top of the robot storage areas. And then up here, well, here, I'll start on the back. Here's the cargo storage area. Making sure that it's focused. There we go. So there's a storage area in the back, miscellaneous debris. I'm making some big cargo crates. Those are the ones that are going to have the logos on them. And then up top, there is the eating area. I'm just going to take the roof off. There is the eating area with the tiny little baby kitchen over here. There's a barbecue, which is currently cooking some barbecue stuff. There's the table where they eat. Storage over there. And then the sleeping area and bathroom are over here. And that is the truck design as it currently stands. I'm probably 2 days away from assembling it, is my guess. Yeah. Okay, it's Sunday around noon. Painting progressed a little faster than expected, so I'm actually at assembly now, which is cool. And I am running into assembly challenges. So, okay. When I build really complicated terrain objects like this, and to be clear, this is the most complicated I've ever made, so I've had this problem before in the past, but never to the degree of complexity that I've had to wrangle for this one. I don't have a ton of battery. All right, well, we'll try to go quick. When I've had this okay, so something I have to do as I'm building these projects is when I'm in the middle part of the project, when I start assembling things, I want to glue things. I want to glue pieces together because if you just make a wall and you make the adjacent wall and you don't glue them together, your options remain open. You can later on, when you go to assemble, you can still have the option to glue A to the thing and then B, or B to the thing and then A, or glue A and B to each other and put them in. And it leaves your options open, and it really, really does simplify the assembly process when it's still in a million pieces when you go into final assembly. But the middle parts of the process are harder if it's in a million pieces. Like when I'm gluing, if I don't glue the two adjacent pieces together, they warp, right? Because they don't have a lot of strength. But when you do glue like a whole box shape together, it's a lot stronger. And then it can stand up to further assembly and stuff. So that's one thing. And then also the 3D parts of painting are a lot easier. Like on this one, I was, there's shading and highlighting going all around this one, where, darker panels on some sides. And like if these panels weren't assembled and weren't in place, it would be a lot harder to visualize the shading and highlighting. So like the pros of assembling, not necessarily everything, but the pros of gluing things together in the middle is that the middle parts are easier to do. But it creates problems in later assembly if you don't think it through really clearly. A simple example would be like, I've got three pieces that need to go together in the order of A and then B and then C, right? The pieces need to be in this shape and they're directly on top of each other, and I have to put in A and then B and then C. Well, for some kinds of assembly that are more complicated than three boxes in a stack, sometimes I'll be thinking about it and I'll be like, yes, I'm going to do a temporary glue and I think this should be fine and it'll be safe and whatever. But then without thinking about it, I glue A and C together. And then if A and C are glued together, if these only fit together in the order of A, then B, then C, and I glue A and C together, that's it. There's no longer any good way to put those pieces together. Sometimes I can find a way to like smush and smash them to get B into the middle of the other two, but often that's not possible. So sometimes if I realize I've done that, I have to like rip the pieces apart and rip the glue and to hope that they'll glue back together without really permanently damaging anything. But it's awful to do that. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I have to keep in mind. But like on a project this complicated, it is really hard to keep like an assembly process on a project that I haven't even fully drawn yet. Like imagine me thinking 4 months ago when I was designing parts, right? Like how is this whole truck going to go together, and what's the order the pieces are going to go together 4 months from now on components I haven't even designed, haven't visualized, haven't whatever. And like I'm doing my best in my head to keep that straight, but it's very, very difficult. And so end result, I ended up doing a pretty good job. A lot of pieces of this ended up being removable and disassemblable and so on. Like, for example, this whole front piece just lifts off, and that's very convenient. But I did run into a gluing A and C together issue. So when I was working on designing the interior components of this, at the time there was just the aluminum frame. I didn't have the roof. I didn't have anything else. And so at that time, I was just able to take I can't even really show it to you right now, but the cylindrical battery pack, and I was just able to drop it in through the top here, and then there was a piece that needed to go into the adjacent area, and then I was able to take that piece and just kind of lift it over and put my hand in and stick it onto the thing. The problem is, I designed that 4 months ago. 4 months later, 3 months later, I needed to build the roof. And so I was building the roof, and I was making decisions about, is this safe, is this safe, is this safe? And long story short, at the time that I made the electronics, the back piece hung on here, and it hung here. There was no top roof, and then the electronics can go in. Now, the back piece is glued to parts of the roof. And so now when I try to... or basically just there is a hole in the roof, but the hole in the roof was designed to be big enough for the battery pack to come through, not for the entire cylinder to come through. The battery pack is the size of that rectangle that's cut into the top of it. So it turns out I didn't leave myself a way to actually drop that cylinder back through. So in this case, I had to do the really awkward solution. I had to, as you can see, cut a hole. The entire rectangle has been widened significantly, and I had to cut a little tab in the bottom for the little. It's really hard to show you. There's a little foot at the bottom of the cylinder. I just had to completely rip the ceiling apart to get that thing in. So I did get it in now, but yeah, it was violent, and but I still have the second problem, which is that when I put this in, and this is going to be so hard to show because I don't have two hands. You can see there's like a kind of a vaguely circular opening on that far wall. Well, this circular hula hoop thing needs to be pressed into that. And when I had access to the whole thing, I could just drop it in through the top and move it in with my fingers. But that is now covered with this floor panel, which I have investigated, and it's not impossible to take the floor panel off, but I worry that it would be, that's basically a surface panel, and I'm really worried about warping it or damaging it or something. So I don't know. So yeah, what I'm hoping I can do is some sort of very awkward process where I put the circular hoop into place first, basically drop it in here, then try to maneuver the rest of the pieces in. And then the ceiling and the back go down and everything drops in. This piece is then just kind of floating inside, and then I'm really hoping that the really small openings here might be big enough for me to maneuver my fingers in and press the piece in. Oh, no, and also glue. It has to be glued in. So I have to somehow get an adhesive onto it. And all of this wouldn't be that complicated. I could actually just pre-assemble it all, except that essentially it has to, this bar is in the way. So I can't just, I don't know, it might be worth investigating, but I don't think I can put the piece onto I don't think I can put the hoop into the wall mount before I drop it all in because of this bar. Although the more I'm thinking about that now, it might be possible, and that might be easier than dropping it. I don't know. I only have awkward solutions now. I need to think through my awkward solutions more. But yeah, this is the misery of assembly. Is, there are advantages to gluing pieces together early, but then there are disadvantages, and I am currently running into all of the disadvantages of the thing. And like I said, there's lots of bits that I didn't assemble early that I'm now benefiting from my decision, because I did visualize correctly how hard it was going to be to assemble later if I did that. But there's this one thing and one other smaller one that's not even really worth mentioning have arisen as things that I kind of thought through but didn't totally think through, and now I'm having problems. So, oh god, assembly is nerve-wracking and kind of awful, but anyway. All right, but yeah, hey, check it out. The paint's nearly done, and I designed a logo, and I painted it on both sides. So now we have Robos da Donna Marlena on both sides of the top of the truck. So there's more painting and more freehand to do once I'm finished assembling. But essentially I've delayed the next stages of freehand. It would have actually been better to do them before, but I'm working on a time scale now of like, I might run out of time and need to stop. So the remaining freehand is like nice to have. It's not necessarily a must have. So I'm just going to work on, I just need to get the fucking thing together. So if I have time to freehand the rest of the stuff later, great. If I don't, whatever, it'll be fine. All right, that's this video. Just wanted to talk about the misery and awkwardness of assembly and do you glue or do you not glue, and how that's not always an easy call. All right, home stretch. It is 1:30 in the afternoon, the day before I have to leave, and I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. Got the tray mostly done. I'll get to that in a sec. The whole thing's assembled. Great. The wiring's all done. Great. So you can see here that there's the headlights on the front. That thing lifts up. This thing lifts up. It turns. Great. In here we have the capybara terrarium. The plans involved putting some clear plastic on the front. I don't know if I'm going to get to that. So then we've got all this stuff. I've got all of the models over here. I'm going to try to go in and make sure that it focuses, but you can see how the models have bases that line up with the specific place they're standing in the truck. Inside, the inside is illuminated, but you can see the beds. Up here we have the logo, Robos da Dona Marlena. That's the name of the mercenary company. I believe it means Grandma Marlene's robots. I think. Here are the remotes sitting up in the track. There are 2 more on the back. Honestly, I don't know. I'm going to be displaying this with the Lazy Susan, but I'm pretty confident no one's going to turn it around and notice that there's 2 more on the back, but yeah, whatever. Okay, and then down here, we've got the ones that are on the sand. Come on, brain, you can do this. You can do this. The flat thing. Tray, thank you. The tray has been painted not super well, but whatever, it's done. And so there's 2 things left to do on the tray. One, I've got this darker area in the front. That's going to be where there's water. I'm going to be using Vallejo water effects. So not a 2-part resin, because I just despise working with two-part resin. It is always a nightmare to work with, and plus I just don't have the time at this point. So I'm going to be using 2-part resin, which is either silicone or just kind of mostly just empty acrylic medium with some whatever in it. Depends on which specific brand. I don't know which style of that Vallejo uses. But anyway, I'm just going to put a couple of layers of that down so that there's a little bit of a glossy sparkle in the front. We've got the cutter who sits up inside the thing. Great, good job, cutter. We've got the Squallow, whose one is going to be displayed down. These each have lights in the top. Currently, the batteries that are currently powering this have been in and powering all of my development and experiments for the last 6 months. So after that, they've been on for several hours today, so they're getting kind of low. So I do need to do a battery change. But full-strength batteries tend to not photograph very well, so I'm taking this opportunity intentionally to shoot this video while the batteries are not super happy. But yeah, you can see the reactor stuff on the inside, which is kind of cool. There are a bunch of wires showing, and I would love to have time to paint some of the red wires to be not red. I don't know if I will have time to do that. So, Down here, I've got, the models on the sand. This is the HVT. His name is Tavino. Up here is the Tech Bee. Her name is Larissa. And in the back, we have the friggin' what are they called? Mech engineer. The hell are the Pano ones called? Whatever, the engineers in Pano. My brain is so tired. Her name is Marlene. She's the grandmother and the owner of the truck. Great. I've got a spare one over here, and again, you can see how I'm integrating the basing. And this is the only base that had anything that was not just that same metal color on it. The huge majority of the flooring is just that same metal color. Here's my favorite tag. It is the Tikbalang that is crouched like a gargoyle, and then with one of his little capybara friends. There's just lots of capybaras all over the place, including, if we go back over here, parent with 2 babies, and then the one that's inside the habitat also has a baby with it. It's really hard to do this without blocking the light, but whatever. Yeah, you can see it there. Yep. There we go. So yeah, we're basically at a point where like I could stop and go, but hey, I've got like 8 hours left. So oh, sorry. Yeah, some stuff isn't done. It's like I could glue it on right now, but I'm choosing to do a little more work before I glue it on. So this back area here, I have glued on the miscellaneous robot part buckets. But I also have crate 1, crate 2, crate 3, and the boat. And these all need logos and freehand done on the side of the crates. There's little crates inside here, which probably also want some freehand on them. I've got a couple of just minor little things like little gas cans and stuff just to sprinkle around. Need paint. All the models need names written on the back. Need air quotes there. I'm choosing that's a mandatory thing. Technically, I don't strictly need that, but I choose to. It's really hard to tell, and I don't know if anyone's going to care, but there's like little screens and things and buttons that need paint that don't have it. And there's a layer of highlighting that I want to do on the robots because they are inconsistently highlighted. Some of them are highlighted all the way back up to the specular highlight color, but some of them aren't, so I need to do a pass of just going over them. The robot highlighting is going to probably happen at the event at the hotel, but everything else I want to get done today. I don't want to do any of the... I want the truck to be done. So when I was assembling the light here, the contact for the for this light under the hood snapped off, which, you know, I don't really care. It's on the back. No one's going to open that one. It's fine. Random thing. I am very, very pleased, and this is going to be something where what you're seeing in the video is not really what it looks like in real life. These lights are actually just a very soft, just perfectly red light. So there's a problem I always have with these, with the LEDs, which is that they're just glaringly brutal to look at when they're poking straight out, and I'm constantly having to fight to make sure that you never look directly into them. And I've tried different things. Like most of the time, what I try to just do is I'll do like up here where I hang them from the top and I bounce them down, or here I hang down and bounce in. I'm always trying to like shine the light on a thing, and then you can see the thing, but you can't see the actual light. But there are some areas like these where I really didn't, there wasn't really anything to bounce them off. I just wanted it to be a light. And what I found with these is, like I said, it doesn't show up here the way it actually is. It is just like nicely red. And all it is I've put a layer of hot glue in the way. So the light, the LED's there, and then there's a layer of hot glue in front, and then there's the opening, and it looks absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love how it looks, and I'm definitely going to be using that technique going forward. I did the same thing up here on the front. Again, wow, it's kind of amazing how much darker these lights are than they were an hour ago. And again, you're not really seeing it just because of the way the camera picks up. But yeah, it did the same thing up here, and it looks great. These ones, they go up into the thing, and then you're seeing them from the front. And like, in actuality, they're making terrible headlights, but I don't actually need to illuminate the area in front of this. I just need you to see, oh, headlights, great. And yeah, so yeah, I've got a handful of hours left. There's bits, and I'm just going to be nitpicking until bed, and then I am going to be bringing my paints down, and I can do more nitpicking when I get there. But yeah, no, I started at the start of October, and it is now the middle of March, and yeah, I don't know, man. This was a lot of work. There's stuff left to do, but I'm actually starting to feel that like emotional decompression a little bit. It's yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good time. It's a good time. Yeah, I'm gonna get it as nice as I can for tomorrow, and then I'll it is what it is at that point. I don't even have anything to say. I'm just happy. I'm happy that we got here. Like I said, there's more to do. But oh yeah, I was gonna say this needs the water, and there's gonna be some foliage in the back. It's funny. I only need tiny amounts of foliage, but that is the only quantity in which I was able to buy the right size of foliage. That is a 6-foot garland of fake leaves. I need like 3 inches. So, hey, preview of a future project. I guess I need to find something to work on that involves fake plants, huh? Anyway, that's a problem for future Spud. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'll shoot a nicer all-around video when I'm actually done. When I'm back from the trip. But hey, this is I'm pretty happy. All right, 6 hours later, I think I'm as done the truck as I'm likely to get. Yeah. I have gone through. Okay, so first, it's not picking up super well here, but you can kind of see that there's the water effects have been put on here. I'm going to probably put one more layer on before I go to bed tonight. This is 2 layers of the Vallejo water effect, it's acrylic medium. That's what it turned out to be. It goes on pretty easily, and it's not the most startling water effect ever, but it does the job. Okay, so I did that. I have finished the lettering on the crates and such. So we have. I asked my Brazilian friend Ellie to come up with some company names and brand names for me. So we have. One sec. Focusing. We have Morte and Explosoes Limited. And then we have the rowboat, which is called Capibarca, which she did not provide to me. I had to look that up. But as far as I can tell, basically means capybara boat. Man, I'm tired, and I don't have a lot of brain cells left. And then in here, the little baby crates, I've got Capigramma, which was, I asked her for a brand of capybara food. I don't know what the grama means. Scub, which is a Perry Bible Fellowship joke. Oh god, there's so little light back there. I now wish I had put a light inside the back shed for reasons which I'll elaborate on in a sec. Well, I might as well just do now. No, I will get to it in a sec, just because I have to move the camera to show you. Anyway, and then there's some other stuff, like there's a crazy koala and the JSA androids and some other stuff in there. On this side, the other 2 crates, we have Nucleobras. I asked her for a nuclear fuel company, so this is just Petrobras, which is the Brazilian oil company, but now they make nuclear fuel instead. And then this is my brand of Capybara shampoo, which is Wetland Breeze. And shampoo in Portuguese is spelled XAMPU, which I absolutely love. So, yeah. And then I asked, she said that for a very fancy, pretentious brand, having an English brand name actually would be very appropriate. So that's why we went with Wetland Breeze. Yeah. And it was a funny idea for something. What's a preposterous thing to have like hundreds of liters of? So that's what we went with. I also went through and did these plants. Kind of feel like part of me is like, oh, I should do more plants, but part of me is like, no, I'm done doing plants. These 4 are gonna have to be enough. Oh god, I have to zoom back out. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So there's a couple of them. They're a minor scenic element just to kind of reinforce what the thing is, and that's it. Oh yeah, sorry. And then the thing I was going to comment on is, okay, so thing I thought should have thought of, and there's just not enough time to deal with it right now, is kind of the main character of this whole thing is the machinist. I remembered what they're called, machinist, who's sitting under here. But when you kind of look at this from a normal angle, she's completely obscured by the boat, or by the crate, or whatever else I had put in that slot. I wish I'd put her literally anywhere else. Like, so the crate was always going to be there, but she's going to be there. I mean, like, you can see her. You just got to go a little lower, but there's not a lot of light on her and stuff. So I'm not thrilled. I wish, like, even literally just put her here, right? And it's better. And, like, I might actually do that during display just so that she's less hidden, or back her up to here or something. It's just frustrating because the bases, again, are specific to the actual place that they're standing, and so the only place there where her base actually lines up is exactly here, but there is obscured. It's dark, and yeah. So I don't know. I'll make a decision when we actually get to the place. I mean, if it's an incredibly, like, blindingly bright room, then maybe it'll be fine there. And if it's a very dark, if we're in a dim space, then maybe I'll just move her to the side. And I live with the fact that one of the models does not have a matching base pattern. And I could put her, like, here, and maybe people wouldn't notice, because then there's at least the lines lining up. So that might happen. Anyway. But yeah, there we go. It is like 8 o'clock the night before I have to leave, and it is good enough. I am going to do more tweaking. There's one last detail I want to do, but I'm just not prepared to do it right now, which is I do want to have like some random like letters and numbers and coded writing and stuff all over the truck, just for like like trucks do, right? You got the whatever on them. It just feels like an appropriate thing to have on them. I just don't know what I'm writing, so I'm going to spend probably the day thinking about that, and when I get to the hotel tomorrow, I'll do it. And then, as mentioned, I need to do the highlighting on the robots, and so on and so forth. But yeah, like, other than that, for like 6 months of work later, I am done. I'm done enough to show, and then we're going to see what happens. I'm happy. I did it. I did it, everybody. I did it. Yay. All right. I need to get in a car in 12 hours, so I'm going to go pack my bag.